Hi guys, welcome back to another Mega Construx unboxing and review video. So today we have the new Game of Thrones Black Series Battle Beyond the Wall set. So the set includes 176 pieces, comes with two named characters, which are one of the Night Kings, Jon Snow in winter gear, and then one of the Undead. This was purchased through Amazon for $19.99. It was a pre-order. I had it pre-ordered for a few months, and then it was just recently delivered. It is currently available on the website right now. I have heard from other people that they have found it, on the East Coast, locally in stores, I think at Walmart, but I haven't seen anything like that locally in stores, so I'm not going to speak on behalf of that. So let's take a look at the box first. So again, with most of the Mega Construx boxes, they do great display art. So again, we're seeing everything that we have in front of us, and so again, we have that Black Series. So this is a new series that Mattel and Mega Construx are going for, I think, with their more mature lines. We got the Night King up there, Jon Snow, one of the Undead, and then the piece count, and then the name for the set. On the back, very similar quality in the sense that we get our characters, little picture display of what we have, and then what's really nice is, so they, because this is based off of a TV series, we're getting actually, some pictures of the characters in game, or what this is based off. And then we have the Drogon set down here with Daenerys, which is the other set that's currently available, and I believe you can get that on Amazon as well. So let's take a look at just everything included first before we kind of look at the pieces. So what's really nice about this Battle Beyond the Wall set is it really comes down to a displayable little scene, right? So we're getting Jon Snow, we're getting one of the Night Kings, and then we're getting an Undead, but we're getting a section of the wall, which if you ever watched Game of Thrones, then you would know that Jon Snow at one point was part of the Night's Watch, where he had to defend the wall from the wildlings, and further on gets based out of the Undead and all of that such. So it's a nice little display piece. It's I really enjoy it to display the figures as a whole. It's a really nice kind of build that they do, some horizontal building to get it to work on the back side, nothing really special. On the bottom side, it's very basic pieces to get everything to sit in place. So let's take a look at the Undead figure first. So again, this is better than we got with the Call of Duty Zombies, but it's still not that great. So we get really nice detail around the rib cage area. So we're seeing exposed ribs right here. We get in some clothing, part of some battle gear as well. And the figure looks phenomenal. However, the only gripe that I have with this is the articulation cuts. We are getting, a ball joint on the head. We're getting a biceps ball joint on both biceps. No ankle swivel or no ankle hinges, so no break from that. We do have a wrist swivel on the guy. We have very limited waist articulation, similar to all of Mega Construx products, and then we have that half ball joint hinge at the hips, but no ankle swivel, no knee hinge joint or anything like that. So the articulation for these guys are very minimal, which is kind of a bummer. It would have been really nice to get these kind of cut with better articulation, just because if you got if you wanted to army build these or have a lot of these, you could take portions of their arms off, you could take portions of their legs off and have them kind of running it, especially towards that last, the Battle of Winterfell. That would be really cool, which they displayed in Toy Fair, but the articulation on these guys just isn't very great. It's a pretty big letdown to get something with this much detail with such poor articulation. So that's my take on it. It might not bother you all that much, but bother me. So the next one we'll take a look at is the Night King. So the Night King, kind of from what I read on reviews about this guy, is it was kind of hit or miss for quality control for the figure himself. So his face is, the entire head is made of that translucent blue ice, which is not how he was in the TV series or anything like that. And you can see that they kind of tried to do the horns in which that he had, but they just kind of got beveled out, so it kind of looks like just a kind of a bunch of nubs. The quality on the face it's there. I've seen worse ones out there, so there's some quality control issues with that. besides the face mold, the rest of the figure looks great. So we get the same articulation as the the Halo and COD line figures for him. He has a great uniform. It's very movie or TV series accurate. Looks really good. Doesn't really hinder articulation all that much. Obviously, the exposed shoulders right here that go over that bicep limit what you can do above that. And then his weapon is an ice spear, which is way out of proportion for the size he is. I really wish they would have either done another mold for these guys to bring it down and bring the spearhead down or whatnot, because it's just it's almost 2 times the size of the figure, which is not accurate at all. But that is my only gripe with this guy, is the weapon and the accessory that he's included in. Besides that, his hands are also made of that translucent blue, so it's it's a very nice look. Overall, the figure does look very decent, and it's a nice inclusion. It's nice to be able to get a Night King at this price. Last one we'll take a look at is probably the star of the show and the star of the set is Jon Snow. So Jon Snow comes packaged in his winter gear. So this is where he has a ton of equipment on. What's really nice about him is they did a really good job with the weathering. So on his pants and his lower portion of his torso, you can kind of see some dry brushing that makes it look like he's in a snowy environment. He's got the really bulked up boots made of animal skins, and then even above here the basic pant line for it has got it's obviously one color, it's a tan color, but it makes it look like he's wearing basically skinned pants to keep that fur in. So it's really nice. He comes with his long claw sword, which is kind of a disappointment in the sense of the size. Let me see if I can get it out of his hand. I want to break it. So what's neat about this is they actually did do a pretty decent mold for the handle for Longclaw, which this was gifted to him from the Night's Watch, like the main commander before he died. This was his son's weapon who died and all that. So Jon gets the sword. It turns out it's made of Valyrian steel, so this is one of the few weapons that can actually kill the undead and the Night King and whatnot. So it's really cool that he has this, that they included this in this set. I wish it were a little bit larger, but it makes sense. What they did is they essentially took the sword mold they already had, changed up the handle for it, and then that's what we get. Jon comes with a similar sheath that we've had with a few of the Assassin's Creed figures and whatnot, basically that rubber band style that kind of hooks under, in a kind of a satchel drape, and then you can put your sword in. So he is able to stow his sword, not as accurate as it was in the game. Probably the most interesting thing about the figure itself is this, the built up fur around his jacket, which in the TV series, this was part of his actual jacket that he wears. For this piece, this is actually a separate accessory that is held in place by his head. So it's similar to the tactical vest that we get for the Call of Duty line, right? So there's nothing that actually hooks this on. You can pull this off, but he just kind of looks a little silly given the rest of his uniform. So it is what it is. It does limit articulation pretty substantially, to be honest. You can't really get further out than this. It brings in the cut. It moves around a lot. You can't really get his head to move all that much either. However, I will say one of the nice things, and one of the things I was kind of surprised about with this, is they did a really good job with the face mold for Jon Snow. They have him kind of in that man bun, it's like a war pose appearance. They did do the pinhole eyes, unfortunately, which I'm not a fan of, but they did paint the the whites of the eyes, so it gives it a little bit more kind of behind it, so they don't look so dead, if that makes sense. A decent paint job for the beard and the mustache. So overall, not disappointed with the figure and the dry brushing techniques they use as a whole for this character. I think it's actually a pretty decent job, to say the least. There's a lot, for $20, there's a lot of detail going into this figure, as well as the Night King, even with the flaws of the translucent head and everything else. So when looking at the set, whether I would suggest it or not, obviously I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, not a fan of the final series or the final season of the series. It was a pretty big letdown. Not gonna give any spoilers in case you haven't seen it, but Jon Snow has been with us for the better half of 10 years, right? He is one of the main characters that has survived throughout the show, and so it was nice to be able to see that Mega acquired such a mature license and that they are moving forward with these sets. And so I know Mega's mentioned that there's going to be a few more sets. They're going to have different versions of Jon Snow available. So this is just the first one, but the thing to take away from this is that the face mold for Jon's great, right? So at this point, hopefully we're going to get him in some different uniforms and something a little bit more easily articulated or articulable, so we can get him in some better poses, because the pose that we have that's displayed in the back is kind of difficult to get him in that pose due to the hindrance of that fur hard plastic shoulder piece that kind of sits on top of his shoulders. Again, overall for the price wise and what you're getting, this is a great way to get two named characters from the series, some unique pieces to say the least, and even if you're not like a huge Game of Thrones fan, what's nice about it is we're getting better articulation for the zombies than we have in the Call of Duty line, right? So the Call of Duty line hasn't done zombies in quite a few years, and those zombies that they did release it was like 4 points of articulation, right? The arms were on a swivel, the waist had like a minor swivel, and then the head was on a ball joint. We're getting about 7 points of articulation with these undead zombies, and so it's nice to be able to build out that zombie universe if that's something that you're interested in. My gripes for the set, obviously, so Longclaw, Jon's main weapon, it's a little bit short, it's not proportionate for the figure, but again, that's me being really picky. And then the other portion is just the the Night King's spear is about 2 sizes too large, my opinion. I could be wrong. With that being said, guys, I don't really have a whole lot else to say about the video. If you guys liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys are interested or have the set, please leave a comment. Let me know what you like most about the set. If you guys have the other sets, like with the Drogon and Daenerys, or I think they're making a like a throne room set. I don't know if that's available at this point. Let me know the differences between that and Jon Snow as well, because that was something that kind of interested me, because I know Cersei and Daenerys are also going to be included with that, and a different Night King. So besides that, guys, I'll catch you next time. Bye.